Merry Christmas to everyone listening today. In this sacred season, before the story begins, I invite you to do one small thing. If there is someone you love who has passed away, write their name in the comments. Just their name. Let us offer a quiet prayer together. Christmas reminds us of light, but also of souls still waiting for peace. Now, listen. Far from the noise of the world, there stood an old monastery where silence was never empty. Prayers lingered in the air long after the voices had faded. Among the sisters lived a nun who had learned to listen, not only to God, but to those no one else could hear. On one winter night, during a simple prayer, something entered the cloister, not with fear, not with anger, but with sorrow. A child's soul appeared, not to haunt, not to accuse, but to ask for one thing: a prayer, a mass, and the truth that had never been spoken. This is the story of what the child revealed and the nun who dared to listen. Sister Agatha had learned long ago that silence was never empty. To most people, the monastery was a place of absence, absent noise, absent movement, absent life. But to her, silence was full. It breathed, it listened, and sometimes it answered. She had been a nun for more than 20 years. Her days followed a rhythm older than memory: prayer before dawn, work in quiet obedience, meals eaten without haste, and nights wrapped in stillness. Nothing about her life seemed remarkable. She spoke little, she avoided attention. Even among the sisters, she was known simply as the quiet one. But what no one knew, what she had never spoken aloud, was that her silence was not chosen only for God. It was chosen because of what she could see. Since childhood, Sister Agatha had sensed presences others could not. At first, she thought everyone felt them: the sudden chill in a room, the feeling of being watched when no one was there, the weight of sorrow that seemed to drift without a source. It was only later she understood that these were not imagination, they were souls. They did not appear often, and when they did, they came only during prayer, never in crowds, never in noise. They came when her heart was most open, when her mind was empty enough to listen. Some were faint, like shadows passing through light. Others carried a heaviness that made her chest ache. None of them spoke at first. They only lingered, as if waiting for permission. Sister Agatha never sought them. She never asked questions. She simply prayed. Over the years, she learned that most souls came for the same reason. They were not lost, they were unfinished. A prayer left unsaid, a goodbye never spoken, a mass never offered. And when she prayed for them, truly prayed, they faded, not into darkness, but into peace. That was why she feared her gift. Because every soul that appeared meant one thing: suffering had reached even beyond death. On this particular winter evening, the monastery was wrapped in cold. Christmas was near. The world outside prepared for celebration, but inside the cloister, the rhythm did not change. Prayer was prayer, whether joy or grief filled the air. Sister Agatha knelt alone in the small chapel, her hands folded, her eyes lowered. The candle before the altar burned steadily. Nothing seemed different. And yet, something was. She felt it before she saw it, a pressure in her chest, sharp and sudden, unlike anything before. This presence was weaker than the others she had known, smaller, fragile, and unbearably sad. Her prayer faltered. She lifted her eyes slowly, her heart already trembling, knowing, as she always did, that she was no longer alone. But when she finally saw who stood in the silence before her, Sister Agatha felt something she had never felt in all her years of prayer. Fear did not rise. Sorrow did. Because standing there, wrapped in dim light and quiet grief, was not a wandering soul of age or regret. It was a child, and the child was waiting. The night prayer began like any other. The bell had rung softly, echoing once through the stone corridors before dissolving into silence. One by one, the sisters had left the chapel, their footsteps fading until only the candlelight remained. Sister Agatha stayed behind, as she often did, kneeling long after the others had gone. It was during these late hours that her prayer became deepest, when words fell away and only listening remained. At first, there was nothing unusual. The chapel was still. The candle did not flicker. The air felt cold, but not unkind. She lowered her head, whispering familiar prayers she had spoken thousands of times. Yet somewhere between one breath and the next, something shifted. It was subtle, almost nothing. A heaviness settled in the air, as if the silence itself had grown weight. Sister Agatha felt it press against her chest, making it difficult to breathe fully. Her fingers tightened unconsciously around her rosary. This was not the presence she knew. The souls she had encountered before arrived quietly, gently, like memories drifting in and out of light. But this felt weaker, fainter, as though whatever had come was struggling simply to remain.
She did not lift her eyes. Experience had taught her patience. Instead, she listened. The temperature in the chapel dropped, though no window was open. The candle flame leaned slightly to one side, trembling for reasons she could not explain. A soft pressure filled the space behind her, not threatening, not demanding, only waiting. And beneath it all, there was sorrow. Not the sharp sorrow of regret, not the heavy sorrow of guilt. This sorrow was small, fragile, almost childlike in its helplessness. Sister Agatha's heart tightened. Whoever, whatever was near her carried no anger, no fear, only an ache so deep it felt older than words. She sensed confusion, loneliness, and something else that unsettled her more than anything before. Innocence. She whispered a prayer for protection, her voice barely audible, not because she was afraid, but because she understood something important was about to be revealed. Still, she saw nothing. No shape formed in the shadows, no figure stepped into the candlelight. The presence remained unseen, hovering just beyond sight, like a breath held too long. For the first time in many years, doubt crept into her heart. Am I imagining this? She wondered. But the sorrow answered before her thoughts could settle. A quiet pressure passed through the chapel, like a sigh that never reached sound. Sister Agatha felt tears gather behind her closed eyes, not her own emotion, but something shared, borrowed. Whoever was there did not yet know how to speak, or perhaps it was afraid to. She opened her eyes slowly, her gaze fixed on the space before the altar. The candlelight stretched across the stone floor, illuminating emptiness, and yet her soul told her the truth. Something unseen was standing there, something small, something broken, and it was waiting for her to notice. Sister Agatha drew a steady breath, her heart pounding softly in her chest. "Lord," she whispered, "I am listening." The silence deepened, and in that silence, the night prayer became something else entirely.
The silence did not break. it softened. The pressure in the chapel grew gentler, as if whatever had been waiting finally felt seen. Sister Agatha remained still, afraid that even a breath might cause the moment to vanish. Then, slowly, the air before the altar changed. At first, it was only a faint distortion, a dimness where light should have been. The candle's glow bent slightly, as though passing through something thin and fragile. Sister Agatha's heart tightened as the shape began to take form. It was small, too small to be one of the souls she had encountered before. A child stood there, barely illuminated, as if the light itself hesitated to touch it. The figure was not solid, yet not entirely transparent. It seemed held together by sorrow more than substance. There was nothing frightening about the child. No twisted features, no hollow eyes, no sound, only sadness, deep, quiet, and unbearably human. The child's head was lowered, hands resting at its sides, standing with the stillness of someone who had learned not to move, not to ask, not to hope too loudly. A pale glow surrounded the small figure, weak but steady, like the last ember of a dying flame. Sister Agatha felt her throat tighten. In all her years of prayer, she had prepared herself to see many things: pain, regret, longing, but she had never prepared herself for innocence. Her first instinct was not fear, but reverence. She lowered her head slightly, not in submission, but in respect, as one does before something sacred and wounded. Her heart pounded, not with terror, but with a grief so sudden it stole her breath. "Why are you here?" she wondered, though she did not dare speak. The child did not look up. It did not cry. That, more than anything, broke her, because sorrow that weeps can still release itself. But sorrow that stands in silence has learned to endure alone. A memory surfaced in Sister Agatha's mind, the faces of children she had once known, long before the cloister walls closed around her life. Laughter, movement, warmth, all the things this small soul seemed to have been denied. Her hands trembled slightly as she tightened her grip on the rosary. This was not a soul filled with anger. This was not a spirit seeking revenge. This was a child who had waited too long to be heard. The candle flickered, casting shadows across the stone floor. For a brief moment, the child's outline wavered, as if unsure whether it was allowed to remain. Panic rose in Sister Agatha's chest. "Please don't leave," she prayed silently. As if answering her unspoken plea, the faint glow steadied. The child remained, still silent, still waiting. Sister Agatha swallowed, her voice unsteady as she finally spoke, barely above a whisper. "You are not alone," she said. The words echoed softly in the chapel, fragile but sincere. And for the first time since the child had appeared, something changed. The small figure lifted its head, and though its face held more sorrow than any child should ever carry, there was relief there too. Someone had finally seen. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The child stood still, the faint light around its small form pulsing softly, as if uncertain whether it was allowed to exist in this space. Sister Agatha remained kneeling, her hands folded, her heart beating slowly but firmly, like a steady prayer. She did not rush the silence. She had learned that some souls needed time, not to appear, but to trust. Then, at last, a voice emerged. It was so soft that at first she thought it was only a thought passing through her own mind, not a sound carried by air, but something received directly in the heart. "I'm sorry," the child whispered. The words struck Sister Agatha with unexpected force. She felt her breath catch, her eyes burning with sudden tears. "Sorry for what?" she asked gently, barely moving her lips. "For bothering you," the child said. "I didn't mean to come here. I didn't know where else to go." The voice was small, careful, as if every word was being tested before it was allowed to exist. Sister Agatha closed her eyes for a brief moment and whispered a prayer under her breath, not for protection, but for strength. She sensed how easily this fragile connection could break. "You are not a burden," she said softly, "and you are not interrupting anything." The child hesitated. "I've been trying to find a place," it continued, the voice trembling slightly. "But everywhere feels empty. People don't hear me. They walk through me. I thought maybe God would hear me here." Sister Agatha felt her heart tighten painfully. The child did not speak of death. It did not say it was afraid. It only spoke of being unheard. "I don't know where I'm supposed to go," the child admitted. "I can't go back, and I don't know how to go forward." The words hung in the air, heavy and unfinished. Sister Agatha bowed her head. In that moment, she did not see a spirit. She saw a child standing at the edge of something vast and unknown, without a hand to hold. She prayed silently, asking for wisdom, asking for humility, asking not to speak when listening was more important. "You came because you are loved," she finally said, "and because someone is meant to pray for you." The child said nothing, but the light around it seemed to warm, just slightly. Encouraged, Sister Agatha remained still, her presence steady, unthreatening. She understood now that this was not a confession that would spill out all at once. This was a wound that would open slowly. The child drew what seemed like a breath. "There are things I remember," it said quietly. "Things I don't understand, and things I don't know how to say yet." Sister Agatha nodded, though she did not interrupt. "You will listen," she replied simply. The child's voice softened even more, as if relieved by the promise. "Thank you for waiting," it whispered. "No one ever waited before." The candle flame flickered gently, casting a trembling halo of light around the small figure. Outside the chapel, the world remained asleep, unaware that a soul had finally found someone willing to listen. And in that stillness, the first words of the child's story were finally spoken, not in fear, but in trust. The child did not speak right away. For a moment, it seemed as if the memories themselves needed courage to rise. The faint glow around the small figure wavered, then steadied again, like a heart learning how to beat without fear. "I had a family," the child began softly. The words were simple, but they carried a weight that pressed heavily against Sister Agatha's chest. "There was a house," the child continued, "not very big, but warm. I remember the way the floor felt cold in the mornings and how the kitchen always smelled like bread." The voice grew steadier as the memories unfolded. "My mother sang while she worked, not loudly, just enough so I knew she was there. My father laughed easily. He always said everything would be fine, even when it wasn't." Sister Agatha closed her eyes, allowing the images to form, not as visions, but as shared truths. She could almost hear the quiet rhythm of an ordinary life, untouched by darkness. "I thought everyone lived like that," the child admitted. "I thought homes were always safe. There were small details offered without effort. a favorite corner of the room where the sunlight fell in the afternoon, a chair that creaked when someone sat down too quickly. Evenings spent together, nothing extraordinary, yet everything precious. "I was happy," the child said simply. The word echoed in the chapel, pure and unguarded. "I didn't pray much back then. I didn't think I needed to. God felt close, like someone who watched without being asked." Sister Agatha felt a sharp ache behind her eyes. This was the kind of happiness that never expects an ending. "I trusted people," the child went on. "When someone smiled at me, I believed it meant something good. When someone spoke kindly, I listened." The glow around the child softened, warmed by the memory of innocence that had once been natural, unforced. "I didn't know about danger," the child said. "No one had taught me that some voices lie." The silence that followed was heavier now, not painful yet. Sister Agatha sensed the shift before the child spoke again. The memories were moving forward, closer to a moment that did not belong among the warmth of bread and laughter. "There was a day that felt ordinary," the child said quietly, "just like all the others." The words carried a subtle hesitation, as if the child stood at the edge of something it was not ready to enter. "I didn't know it would be the last day I felt safe," the child added. Sister Agatha's fingers tightened around her rosary. She did not interrupt. She did not urge the story forward. Some truths must be allowed to approach slowly. The candle flame trembled, casting longer shadows across the stone floor. The glow around the child dimmed slightly, as though the warmth of those memories was fading with each word. "I remember thinking the world was kind," the child whispered. "I remember believing nothing bad could happen to me." The sentence ended without resolution. Sister Agatha bowed her head, her lips moving in silent prayer, not to stop what was coming, but to be strong enough to hear it. Because in the fragile space between memory and truth, she understood one thing with painful clarity. The beauty of what had been was about to make the loss unbearable. The child's voice grew quieter. "That day started like any other," it said. "Nothing felt wrong. The morning had been ordinary, the sky familiar, the path the same one the child had walked many times before. There was no warning written in the air, no sign that something irreversible waited ahead. "I wasn't afraid," the child whispered. "Why would I be?" Then came the meeting. "There was a man," the child said, hesitating. "He spoke gently. He smiled the way adults do when they want you to trust them." Sister Agatha felt her breath slow, her body still as stone. "He asked simple questions, things that didn't seem dangerous. His voice sounded calm, kind even." The glow around the child dimmed slightly. "I remember thinking I should be polite," the child said. "I remember thinking it would be rude to walk away." The silence in the chapel thickened. Something changed after that. "It happened slowly," the child whispered, "like the world shifting without making a sound." The child did not describe what followed. It did not need to. "There was a moment," it said, "when I knew something was wrong. My heart started to race. My thoughts felt tangled. I wanted to go home." Fear entered the voice, not loud, not frantic, but sharp, cutting through every word. "I tried to understand," the child said. "I kept thinking maybe I was mistaken, maybe I had misunderstood." The glow flickered. "And then," the child added softly, "I knew I hadn't." The pause that followed was unbearable. "I felt small, smaller than I had ever felt before, like my voice didn't belong to me anymore. Sister Agatha felt tears slide down her face, though she made no sound. "I remember thinking," the child whispered, "that this couldn't be happening to me, that someone would stop it, that God would step in." The candle flame trembled violently, then steadied. "But everything fell apart." The words were flat, empty. "The world I knew ended there, the safe one, the one with warm kitchens and singing voices." The glow around the child faded to its weakest point. "I didn't understand why. I still don't." Sister Agatha pressed her hand to her chest, whispering a prayer through tears. The child fell silent, and in that silence, the innocence that had once made life beautiful was gone, not taken by force alone, but by betrayal, confusion, and a trust that should never have been broken.
The child did not say the word death. Instead, the voice grew distant, as if speaking from a place where time no longer moved the way it should. "Everything became very quiet," the child said. There was no pain described, no struggle, no moment that felt like an ending. "I remember feeling tired," the child whispered, "and then lighter, like I was floating just above myself." Sister Agatha felt her heart tighten. "I didn't know I had left," the child continued. "I thought I was still there. I tried to stand, but the world didn't move with me." The glow around the small figure wavered, pale and fragile. "I saw my body," the child said softly, "but it didn't feel like mine anymore. It was strange, like looking at something you used to wear." Confusion entered the voice, gentle but aching. "I kept waiting to wake up." The child paused. "Then I saw my family." The silence that followed was heavy with meaning. "They were crying," the child said. "My mother held me, but I couldn't feel her. My father kept saying my name over and over." The voice trembled for the first time. "I tried to answer," the child whispered. "I called out. I told them I was there." But no one turned. No one heard me. No one looked up. Sister Agatha bowed her head, her tears falling freely now. "I stood right next to them," the child continued. "I reached for them. I didn't understand why my hands went through theirs." The glow dimmed further, as if weighed down by the memory. "I thought maybe they were angry with me," the child said. "Maybe I had done something wrong." The misunderstanding cut deeper than any wound. "I didn't know I had died," the child whispered. "I just knew I was suddenly alone." Time seemed to stretch, fold, and lose its meaning. "There were days," the child said, though days no longer existed, "when I stayed near them. I watched them sleep. I listened when they spoke about me." The voice softened. "I wanted to tell them not to cry. I wanted to say I loved them, that I wasn't gone." But the world did not bend back. "And then," the child whispered, "I realized something." Sister Agatha lifted her eyes slowly. "They were moving forward, and I was not." The candle flame burned steadily, unmoved by the weight of the truth spoken. "I had no goodbye," the child finished. "No last hug, no last word." The glow around the child trembled, barely holding. And in the quiet space between heaven and earth, a soul lingered, not because it wanted to remain, but because it did not know how to leave.
The child's voice softened, no longer trembling. "I didn't come looking for revenge," it said quietly. "I didn't even know what revenge was." Sister Agatha listened, her heart still heavy, yet strangely calm. "I followed the prayers," the child continued. "They were different here, gentle, clean, like light that didn't burn." The glow around the child grew slightly warmer. "There were places where people spoke God's name loudly," the child said, "but their words felt empty. Here, no one shouted, no one asked for things." The chapel remained still, as if agreeing. "I didn't know why I could come in," it admitted. "I only knew the prayers made the loneliness hurt less." Sister Agatha understood then. "You can hear me," the child said, looking at her for the first time. "Others prayed, but you listened." The words struck deep. "I don't want anyone to suffer, not even the one who hurt me." The glow steadied, calm and fragile. "I just want to rest, and I think I need someone to pray for me." Sister Agatha closed her eyes, tears slipping silently down her face. She had listened, and now she knew why the child had come. The child spoke carefully, as if each word mattered. "I don't need many prayers," it said, "just one Mass." Sister Agatha felt her breath catch. "One," the child repeated, "offered for me." Then came the name. It was spoken softly, not in anger, not in accusation, but as a truth that had waited too long in silence. A name belonging to someone still living, still hidden among ordinary faces. "I don't hate him," the child said. "I only want the truth to be known." Sister Agatha lowered her head, torn between fear and obedience. Because once a name is spoken, silence is no longer innocent, and prayer now carried responsibility. The Mass was offered quietly, without explanation. No one in the chapel knew the name spoken in Sister Agatha's heart, except God. When the final prayer ended, the air felt lighter. The child appeared once more, brighter now, no longer fragile. The sorrow that had bound it was gone, replaced by a calm that needed no words. "Thank you," the child whispered. Then the light faded, not into darkness, but into peace. Life outside the monastery continued. Truth moved slowly, as it always does. But in the silence of prayer, one soul had found rest. And Sister Agatha never forgot. Some souls do not ask for justice, only to be remembered before God. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If it touched your heart, may it remind you that prayer still reaches places we cannot see, and that love does not end with death. May this Christmas bring you peace, comfort, and quiet hope, and may the souls we remember today rest in light. Thank you for listening. Thank you for praying. Wishing you and your loved ones a blessed and peaceful Christmas.